Hey, what's up YouTube? Welcome to my review of this item. This is the Kubey Kukri machete, and you are at the We All Juggle Knives channel. The blade length on this is 8½ inches. It is D2 tool steel. It's full tank construction. The handle scales, they look like micarta, but they're actually listed as G10 on this thing's Amazon listing. Here's a size comparison. So as you can see, regarding like chopping implements, big steel, this is very compact, right? That's intentional. Almost all, well, pretty much all of those are longer and heavier. Even that sportsman's axe is a lot heavier, right? So this thing is like supposed to be kind of the machete equivalent of like a scout axe or a backpackable axe, so to speak, right? In other words, it's a compact chopper. It's not meant to replace something bigger and heavier, but I'll get into that after we do some stuff with it. All right, I've got a lot of usage footage coming up, right? But first, you see that coating? It's got a black coating. They also have a model that does not have the black coating. All right, here's the sheath. It's a Kydex sheath. It is semi-open at the top, and you see the rigid belt loop there. It holds it in very securely. There's no rattle or anything. It's got a retaining strap with a button closure. To free the blade, you push it up and out. All right, so it's got a lot of eyelets around it. You can lash pouches to it and so forth. All right, here's the usage footage. Let's beat on this thing. Now, this was sent to me by Kubey specifically to test out, quote unquote. I gotta warn you, if you send me a knife, if you're a company, if you're a knife maker, I am going to beat the crap out of your knife, at least if it's a fixed blade. People would probably get mad if I did this to a folder. But I am going to beat the crap out of your knife because it's a good way to test it. And if your knife survives, so much the better. I mean, your knife, it makes your knife look good if it can get beat on and abused a little bit. All right, look at this piece of wood. Look how warped that is. That is some freaking Mirkwood Hobbit wood. All right, but we are going to power through it nonetheless. Yeah, it resisted, but it could not resist forever, I assure you. Yeah, see, that's actually split. So it's doing pretty well as like a splitting tool. Of course, I'm not saying you should replace a heavy axe or anything, but if you did not have like a heavy item to split with, you could just use a club like I do and this fairly compact machete. All right, so in a short period of time, we took a bunch of pieces of firewood and turned them into more narrow pieces of firewood. All right, the next task, we're going to make shavings with the inner curve of that kukri. We're going to make some shavings, then we're going to light them on fire. Now, I have to say, if you want your shavings to look pretty and beautiful, then don't use firewood. Use, if you're going to make feather sticks and so forth, use a branch. You know how they go, but I have firewood, so I'm making shavings from that. All right, and sorry for the wind noise. It was very friggin' cold out on that day. All right, so those are my shavings, and I am also going to use some homemade fire starters just because it was cold, it was windy. There's my fire steel. Those are my homemade fire starters. And the sun was going down because the sun goes down like at noon where I live. All right, not quite that early, but I was losing the sun. Okay, so this thing, using it as a striker, it works a lot better as a striker if you first remove the black coating from that little part of the spine that you would normally use it for striking. Now, I don't know why you would necessarily want to use this as your striker when there are so many other things that you can use as a striker, such as, a lot of fire steels come with a striker, or you could use anything from your Swiss Army knife, your reamer, your file, or your saw. But people want to know, if I was stuck in the wilderness with only this, could I survive? Well, if you had only this and a fire steel and some nice tinder, then yes, you could start a fire, and from there you could survive, hopefully. I also have a rule, any video is made better with fire, all right? I also have a rule, they're all made better by go-go dancers, but that would cost a bit more to include. What the heck are you doing there? I am making a notch with some crosswise batoning. You'll see there's a method to my madness. So, more stuff with wood. It's almost like bushcraft is all just woodwork. Alright, no it's not. There's shelter building and crap like that, which, alright, there's lots of wood. You see my two grooves there. Alright, so I'm removing the material in between those two grooves using the Kukri. Right? Like I was saying, you build a shelter, sometimes you use leaves and stuff like that. So, it's not all wood. Yeah, that's one to grow on. Okay, I did use my knife to finish that off. I could have used the Kukri, but that's your notch. I could have used the Kukri for the whole thing, but frickin' it was just easier with a more narrow blade. So here's another notch. This is a much easier notch, as you will see. Alright, just going at 45-degree angle two ways, and there's your notch. See, that's much easier. It's just a V. Alright, so the moral of the story, there's a group photo, my two notches. What could be more bushcrafty than notches in wood? How about actually using those for something? Well, let's not get crazy. Alright, this is just some yard work. I wanted to show that if you had to do some yard work, trim your hedges, clear some brush, get rid of a bush, whatever, that this would be pretty handy for that. Alright, so that's the yard work. Chopping on a branch. Now this does not hit as hard as a heavier item would, but I think that's understandable. I gotta say, as I was chopping this, I was thinking, man, my Est-wing hatchet could like murder this branch in like half the time, right? Because it's just freaking heavier. So the moral of the story is, yeah, you can chop a gnarly branch if you had to, but it's no substitute. See, that took a long time. No substitute for a heavier chopper if that's what the task calls for. But I warn everybody, you send me a knife, I will beat on it, possibly abuse it. Just, here it is on a big ass log. Another thing I noticed with this chopping, the edge on this could use a little bit of reprofiling. It's a little bit broad, right? If that edge was less broad or more narrow, it would just bite in. It would have bitten into that branch better. It would bite into this log better. So if you do get this, you may wish to customize it and basically customize that edge, sharpen it, and reprofile it a bit. Of course, this was never meant to tackle a log of this size anyway, right? This is just purely because when I review things, people wish to see the blade wailed on and beat on just to reassure themselves that if they had to, that it could survive, all right? So, fair warning, that was abuse. All right, so you see that part that sticks out, right? That does tend to smash on your fingers a little bit, especially when you're doing jobs like that log, which this was not really suited to that job, so you compensate by like just hitting it like as hard as you can, which does tend to smash that part into your fingers. But I think the moral of the story, don't use something like this the way a reviewer does necessarily, right? Don't tackle big logs. Here it is carving. I sped up this footage for time's sake. Now this is a more, I would say, rational, realistic, practical task. Just carving something, or carving a spike. When I carve something, I first carve a notch into a piece of wood, and then I stick the end of what I'm carving into that notch, and that's how I do it. And we're just going to make it pointed. Alright, so as you watch this, listen up, this is very important. Check out the text description box for links of very useful items. We got blades, we got tomahawks, going to have some choppers, survival knives. Those links do help support the channel, and basically without that, couldn't even be here. So if you appreciate videos where people actually use things and demonstrate tasks and so forth and kind of go in depth, just thank me by doing your normal shopping through those links in the text box, right? You don't have to buy this. There's going to be many items, right? Now, you see that sandpaper there? I finished the spike with sandpaper, makes it a lot smoother and a lot more pointed. That's just a little tip. It weighs virtually nothing, and it has a lot of other uses. All right, but that's another video. All right, final thoughts on this. Well, as I said in the beginning, if you compare it to some of my biggest and baddest and best choppers over there, you can see it's very small, it's very compact, right? So it's a packable, like, compact chopper. It's not meant to replace any of those items that I am showing. Oh, I will include links to those items because I know you probably want at least one item there. Yeah, this is really just an excuse for Steel Addict PORN. I don't know if YouTube's algorithm will nuke you if you actually say that word. But yeah, you got Tops, you got Essie, Estwing. That Estwing Rig Builder's hatchet is a beast, right? Cold Steel Rifleman's Hawk. But about this Kubey, like, for its size, it's actually really useful for its size, as long as you keep in mind it's not meant to replace something that's, twice the size or as heavy. It's actually most comparable to this. This is a Tops Bushcraft Kukri, right? It's actually, of the knives that I possess, it's most comparable to this in terms of size, weight, and what you would use it for. All right, that Tops knife, very expensive. I think I saw it for $175. Currently, Tops is a bit pricey. The Kubey, I'm not sure what the price will be when I post this, so just check the link for current pricing, but it's a little pricey too. I hope they can reduce the price. It will, sell better if they do. All right, so it did a lot of stuff, no doubt. It's pretty useful, but as far as bushcraft blades go, there really is a lot of stiff competition out there, so even though it was pretty useful, I don't know, there's so many blades nowadays that you could use for bushcraft, so many sizes, so many categories, so it remains to be seen whether anyone might necessarily gravitate towards this. But I did my utmost to test it out for you and to just show what it can do, and you can make the call if you want this or need this. I gotta say that it did take a beating and it survived, and that coating stood up a lot better than I thought it would. All right, I hope you enjoyed this video. This has been We All Juggle Knives. If you're not subscribed, feel free to do so and check out the links in the text box. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'm out.